Here we go, it's season 2 of Pokemon WTF Moments, because we're following the American DVD release of the seasons. It doesn't matter. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most important, most impactful, most talked about events, and I think most agreed upon events in the entire anime, which is Ash's release of Pidgeot. And the general consensus around Ash releasing Pidgeot is that it's an absolute travesty. It's a complete injustice. He should have kept Pidgeot on his team. He shouldn't have just released it straight away. But I'm going to tell you today why Ash releasing Pidgeot was the absolute best decision Ash could have made for Pidgeot, and it has absolutely nothing to do with looking out for some wild Pidgey or Pidgeotto. This is all to do with Pidgeot itself. Today's episode starts at Professor Oak's lab, and mate, I would love to know the conversations that are going on here. Oddish, Diglett, and Poliwag. What the hell are they going to talk about? Now call me a sour bastard, but isn't this a bit much? They're holding a party to celebrate Ash finishing in the top 16 of the Pokemon League. Mate, it's the top 16. It's not like he won or even made it to the semi-finals. Finishing in the top 16 means that 15 other trainers were equal to or better than you. I guess that the top 16 is technically the farthest any of the 4 Pallet Town trainers got to winning the Pokemon League, but still, celebrating the top 16. Like, come off it, mate. He shouldn't have had a party. He should have just had a sorry for your loss greeting card. Misty suggests letting all the Pokemon out to celebrate as well, and Brock sends out Geodude, Onix, Zubat, and Vulpix using only 2 Pokeballs. And then Misty sends out Goldeen, Staryu, and Psyduck using only a single Pokeball. It must be a bit cramped if they're sharing Pokeballs, especially whoever gets paired up with Onix. After sending out Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Pidgeotto, Ash goes to send out Charizard, but gets stopped by Brock and Misty. He then has a flashback to all the times Charizard has disobeyed him and decides maybe it's best not to let him out. Wow, talk about sending a message, mate. Poor Charizard doesn't get to join the party just because he's a little unruly. Excluding him from fun stuff isn't going to help him, mate. That's just going to make him act out more, isn't it? And hang on a minute. Pikachu, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Pidgeotto, Charizard. That's 5 Pokemon. I know I can count. It's crazy, isn't it? So Ash didn't actually swap Muck for a different Pokemon after Muck beat Bellsprout in the league. He just literally sent Muck to the professor for nothing in return. Just an empty slot on his team. Why though? Was it because of Muck's smelly Pokeball? And if that is the case, why didn't he just put Kingler back on the team? Like, Kingler lost 1 battle and all of a sudden he's not good enough to be on the team anymore? Mate, hashtag justice for Kingler. And yes, before anyone says, I know, Kingler does come back eventually, but it ain't now, so shut up. Mate, Bulbasaur has 0 chill. After Psyduck trips up on its way to go and get food, instead of walking around it or helping it up like a nice Pokemon would do, Bulbasaur just straight up walks over Psyduck. Bulbasaur, mate, you're a knobhead. Not gonna lie though, this screenshot looks super suggestive, doesn't it? No wonder the episode's called Pallet Party Panic. Direct quote from Ash.
Let's eat fast so we can eat again.
Ash Ketchum is my spirit animal. Who knew? You've got to give credit where credit is due. Team Rocket somehow got hired to cater at this party when the party was probably planned at least a couple of days in advance, if not like a week or more. So they either managed in that time to set up a fake catering company, get an ad for that catering company in the newspaper or wherever Professor Oak found the ad for it, and get hired by Oak, or they just managed to get hired by the exact company that Oak decided to use. That's just impressive. Something else impressive is taking just a little moment of your time, just a few seconds, to tap a like on this video so that this video can be recommended to even more people and this channel can thrive and grow. Only takes a moment, massively helps us out. If we could hit 6,000 likes on this video, I would be a very, very happy boy. And of course, don't forget to share the video on social media because that helps as well, and leave a comment down below. And if you can't think of a comment, just leave something generic like
Pidgeotto, more like...
What are you doing, step bro?
And if you are new here, thank you so much for giving my channel a chance. Please consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on all notifications so you never miss an episode of Pokemon WTF Moments or anything that comes out on my channel. Mate, Pidgeotto's so hungry its feet have gone grey. Man, this bird really has been mistreated for just the longest time, hasn't it? After Brock, Pidgeotto, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle all get their heads blown off by the amount of extra heat and spice that Team Rocket have added to the food, Ash mocks them, asking if they're not tough enough to handle a little spice. Just a little bit of spice. After taking a bite of the food, Ash suffers the same fate, and whilst this isn't a WTF moment, it is a perfect example of instant karma. That is what you get for being an obnoxious little prick, Ash. Enjoy. Wait, so what's my excuse? So after Jessie sneaks over disguised as a bush and snags Pikachu, these people behind her are looking on in amazement. That makes sense, since it's not every day you see a bush commit theft. What I don't get is, why is everyone beyond those first few people just staring at Team Rocket's food stand, which is in the opposite direction? Actually, saying that, if I walked up to a food stand and there was no one there to serve me, I'd be pretty pissed, to be honest. So maybe they're onto something. After Team Rocket reveal themselves, phrasing, Ash, Misty and Brock take exception to Team Rocket tampering with the food, because that's just not on, and I absolutely agree with them, and they throw all the food back at Team Rocket with some of the most supreme accuracy I have ever witnessed. Every plateful lands a straight bullseye into each of Team Rocket's mouths. Forget the Pokemon League, this lot should be competing in the World Food Fight Championships. Now, out of curiosity, I looked online to see if the World Food Fight Championships was a thing, and I couldn't really find anything, but I did find the World Custard Pie Throwing Competition, which takes place in Coxheath every year. It's on September the 4th, if anyone's wondering, and registrations for teams are absolutely open, so go on, off you go. Custard Pie Championships. You can do it. I believe in you. Now, this is just dumb. Team Rocket begin escaping in their hot air balloon that has propellers today for no reason. And instead of just concealing the fact that they've stolen Pikachu for Ash and his friends to figure out later, they just hang Pikachu from the bottom of the food stall thing to make it super obvious that they've stolen him, and thus making him easier to save as well, surely. Team Rocket, use your noodles. Ash tells Squirtle to use Water Gun on the balloon, ignoring the fact that Pidgeotto, a flying type Pokemon we've seen absolutely decimate Team Rocket's balloon with a single attack, is right next to him. Mate, what's Pidgeotto done to make you not want to use him? Hashtag justice for Pidgeotto. And Squirtle's Water Gun doesn't even reach the balloon, so what a waste of time that was. This is what you get for not choosing Pidgeotto. Even though they're actually getting away, Team Rocket decide it's a good idea to throw a lot of bombs, and I mean a lot of bombs, down at the party. Guys, a minute ago you were just committing theft, now you're committing acts of terrorism. I'm just saying, they went from 0 to 100 real fast. Oh, would you look at that? Ash finally decides to use Pidgeotto and it bursts the balloon with a single quick attack. It's almost like you should have just used it from the start. I swear Ash doesn't deserve this bird. Mate, Team Rocket really are getting smarter. They really brought a second balloon just in case the first one got popped. The idea of an intelligent Jessie and James really scares me. Are we sure we're in the right dimension? Jessie sends out Arbok and gets it to use Poison Sting on Pidgeotto, but there's nothing behind Arbok here. And if Arbok was in the food stall part of the hot air balloon that's replacing the basket, we'd see that behind Arbok, or even the balloon itself. So did Jessie just send Arbok out into the sky? Does she know snakes can't fly? Poor Arbok. And if Pidgeotto would have just used Quick Attack again, which has increased priority, it would have already popped the balloon by now and thus avoided Arbok's Poison Sting. I'm just saying. I'm about to show you two frames that follow each other, one after the other. So this one is Ash telling Pikachu that help is on the way. And this one is immediately after when Ash is throwing Charizard's Pokeball. So how did Ash turn his hat backwards in the space of one frame? That's like 1/30th of a second. I guess Ash should probably join the local football team since he's so good at hat tricks. No? No one liked that one. No one. Hey look, it's that GIF everyone uses when they see delicious food or a really attractive person. I've never really thought about it, but if you told me that Charizard's first choice of food at a buffet would be fresh fruit, I feel like that would have really surprised me. I think that because it's a massive dragon looking thing, I figured its first choice of food would probably be like a big slab of meat or something. I don't know, it's just weird to think that when faced with a plethora of food, Charizard's first thought is,
oh, banana.
So Team Rocket throw more of their bombs, which we've seen clearly explode on impact, towards Charizard. But Charizard just bashes them away with its wings, which surely counts as impact, so shouldn't the bombs have exploded? Charizard should be dead right now. Pass it on. So after the bombs blow away Team Rocket because they hit Team Rocket and they explode on impact like they're supposed to, Charizard swoops down to save Pikachu from falling to its death. Which, when you think about it, is kind of weird. Charizard was ordered to save Pikachu, but refused to do that because he wanted to eat some food and only went after Team Rocket for revenge for destroying all the food. So I wonder why he suddenly decided to save Pikachu after all. Surprised he didn't let the little fucker plummet, to be honest. So Charizard flies around a bit, annoying everyone, creating gusts of wind, and then just stands around in the middle of the ruined party blasting its flamethrower into the air. Okay, firstly, how is the wind still blowing if Charizard is stood still and no longer flapping its wings? And secondly, Ash mate, have you not thought about maybe returning Charizard to its Pokeball now that it's done the thing you asked it to do? It's probably in everybody's best interest if you get that fucker out the way. Team Rocket land in a tree that's filled with wild Pidgey and Pidgeotto, and neither of them think to throw a single Pokeball. Come on mate, you need something to take back to Giovanni, surely. Sure you wouldn't mind a Pidgeotto. Also, did we ever find out what happened to Arbok? Because we didn't see Jessie return it. Maybe it really did fall to its death. Rest in peace, Arbok. gone too soon. You bastards! You absolute bastards! Now, I know it's obvious to anyone thinking logically that a Pidgeot would make an appearance in this episode, since we've seen a bunch of Pidgey and Pidgeotto in hiding and they're scared of a flock of Spearow led by a big Fearow. But still, spoiler alert, lads! You could have had any Pokemon here and it wouldn't have ruined that surprise for anyone that didn't connect the dots, but you just chose to just bong it right in there. Even Pidgey would have been better here. After Oak heals Ash's Pidgeotto, Misty says Pidgeotto's so great, and Brock says
Pidgeotto would stand up to any kind of attack for Ash.
yeah, and somehow for the 79 episodes we've known Pidgeotto, 81 if you count Snow Way Out and Holiday Hijinks to the actual episode order, it's been super bloody underappreciated. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. You know what? No, I'm not. I'm definitely angry about this. Professor Oak tells Ash and friends he needs them to run a very important errand on Valencia Island in the Orange Archipelago, and oh look, fan service. Reminder, she's 10, so eyes over here, you bloody creeps. Side note, I remember watching this as an 11-year-old and having absolutely no idea what an archipelago was. That's a big word for young kids, right? Hang on. Oak says,
I'd like you to go and visit my friend Professor Ivy and bring back the mysterious Pokeball he recently acquired so that I can study it.
and Misty says immediately after,
Can't you just have her transported to you, Professor?
did you catch that? When Oak was talking, Professor Ivy was a he. When Misty was talking, Professor Ivy was a she. Professor Ivy is non-binary and is happy with he, him pronouns and she, her pronouns, confirmed? I mean, whether that's the case or not, I'll happily support him or her either way. Because remember, every human being walking the earth today should be allowed to happily identify as whatever gender identity they identify with. Do you see that, bigots? Do you see how easy it is just to accept people for who they are? These aren't meant to be educational videos, but if you take anything away from today's episode, let it be that being a bigot in 2021 is just fucking stupid. What's not stupid is using code ACE for money off G Fuel! Today I'm drinking a brand new flavor that just recently came out. It's finally available, Maiden's Blood, inspired by Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil Village, or however they want to do it. I've not played it, but this flavor, oh my life. It's a mixture of lychee, watermelon, and pear, and you can really taste the pear in it, which is beautiful because I love the taste of pear. Oh, it's dead nice, and you can't see it in here, but it is the color of blood as well. I even got some on my fingers earlier and was like, oh, it looks like I'm injured, but I'm not. I just spilled G Fuel. It was a very sad time for me. Remember though, G Fuel is for over 18s only because it contains caffeine, and children do not need caffeine. They're annoying enough as it is, and because it contains caffeine, just drink it responsibly. Don't be a dickhead. So conveniently, the Pokeball that Professor Oak wants to study can't be transported in the conventional way, and Gary isn't around to help his granddad because he's already buggered off on a new Pokemon journey. Now, I would say that this is a great way of filling in all the plot holes that this particular errand creates. But it doesn't, because we know the Pokemon world has mail carriers. We saw a postie deliver Ash and Friends' Pokemon in Love movie premiere invitation, remember? So why doesn't Oak just ask Ivy to post it to him?
Well, actually, Liam, maybe this Pokeball is special, so Professor Oak doesn't want to risk it getting lost or damaged in the mail.
He doesn't want it lost or stolen, then why has he asked Ash Ketchum to go get it? The kid's an idiot. Brock fantasizes about all the bikini-clad girls he's going to see on the beaches on Valencia Island, and honestly, should this guy really be allowed out on his own? I know he's got Ash and Misty with him, but are they really going to be able to stop Brock when he finally snaps and goes on his inevitable hormone-fueled rampage? Someone should warn Valencia Island that Brock's coming. So it turns out the Fearow leading the flock of Spearow is actually the Spearow that Ash hit in the head with a rock in the first episode, and it's just evolved since then. Not gonna lie, that's a fantastic callback, so bravo to whoever's idea that was. After the Fearow grabs Ash by the backpack and lifts him up into the air, Ash gets Pikachu to use Thundershot on the Fearow and by extension himself so the Fearow will drop him. Doesn't electrocution make your muscles contract? So surely shocking Fearow would just make it grip Ash's backpack even tighter. Also, they're up pretty high. Does Ash really want to get dropped from that height? Ash Ketchum has a death wish. Pass it on. Lucky for Ash, after falling hundreds of feet to certain doom, he lands in the exact same tree as Team Rocket, which must be made of marshmallows and fucking unicorn hair or something, because he's completely unharmed. Sometimes the plot armor in this show is just a little too strong, isn't it? The kid should be mush. Jessie explains that the wild Pidgey and Pidgeotto won't leave the tree because they're scared of Spearow and Fearow, but that just makes me wonder how long they've been in this tree before Ash and Team Rocket turned up. Like, if they're too scared to leave the tree and they've been there for ages, were they just going to end up dying of starvation if Ash and friends hadn't turned up? Ash shakes the tree and sends Team Rocket crashing to the ground, and Jessie hits the floor so hard her gloves come off. I mean, either that or she shit herself on the way down and needs to use something to you know? Is that my worst joke yet? I think it might be. After the Fearow and Spearow chase away Team Rocket, Ash sends out his own Pidgeotto to motivate the wild Pidgey and Pidgeotto to leave the tree. As soon as they do leave the tree, the Fearow turns back up and knocks out Ash's Pidgeotto in a single hit. Christ, this bird can't catch a break, can it? That's twice today. It's been kind of somewhat successful and then just immediately absolutely battered. Mate, I don't even know how Pidgeotto got hit by this Fearow. It flies around the wild Pidgey and Pidgeotto like a fly around poo and doesn't hit a single one. How unlucky do you have to be to get hit by the one Fearow that can't hit anything? And just like that, all of a sudden, even though it's completely bloody knocked out, Pidgeotto starts to evolve.
Totally poggers.
Mate, Ash finally has a Pidgeot. That's awesome. Now let's hope he doesn't do anything stupid like release it in the next 4 minutes. After Pidgeotto beats the living piss out of this Fearow with a bunch of gusts and a quick attack, Ash sends Pikachu to jump onto the Fearow to use Thunderbolt. Now this to me was a really poor writing decision. The whole point of this part of the episode is that Ash's Pidgeotto wanted so badly to help the wild Pidgey and Pidgeotto but was far too weak to stand up to Fearow. So Pidgeotto evolved into Pidgeot so that it then had the strength to square off with Fearow. Throwing Pikachu in to help just makes Pidgeot seem like it couldn't handle Fearow alone, which actually makes it feel like even now it's just not that strong. Can you tell I watch too much pro wrestling with thoughts like that? Okay, 2 things. 1, Ash Ketchum is actually planning to catch Fearow. Ash Ketchum, who wants to be a Pokemon Master but barely ever tries to actually catch Pokemon, is planning to catch Fearow. Bloody hell, mate, you feeling alright? But also, how are you gonna go from riding Pidgeot like this to standing up like this to throw the Pokeball? Mate, that's dangerous. Sit back down. Damn it, the one time Ash actually tries to catch a Pokemon and it's still strong enough to just bat the Pokeball away. I guess we really can't have nice things. Oh, mate, imagine how cool this would have been if Ash would have actually caught Fearow and then it would have been revealed that the Spearow were just following Fearow's lead, so now just stop attacking the wild Pidgey and Pidgeotto. Meaning Ash wouldn't have to make the stupid decision he's going to make in a couple of minutes' time, which means that we go to the Orange Islands with Ash having a Pidgeot and a Fearow. And since they're both kind of rivals, you could have this proper odd couple thing where Ash sends them both out into battle all the time and they compete with each other and they bugger each other's battles up and stuff like that and get into petty little fights. Oh, what could have been? So after Ash's Pidgeot and all the wild Pidgey and Pidgeotto absolutely murk the wild Fearow, they just wait there while Fearow flies away. Ash, mate, it's obviously been weakened a lot more now. Why aren't you trying to catch it now? You're trying to tell me you've been traveling with just one empty Pokeball this whole time and now you're all out? Wait, no, the Pokeball that he threw at Fearow came right back to him, so he still got it and it's unused technically. So why isn't he trying to catch it? Did he just not think? Christ, mate, some Pokemon Master you'll be. Ash is a numpty. Pass it on. And here we have one of the dumbest decisions in the entire Pokemon Anime. You know what though? I'm not even mad about it. I used to be mad about it, but after watching this series back, Ash's Pidgeot, back when it was a Pidgeotto, spent 79 episodes, or 81, depending on like which episode you count and which episode you don't, being overlooked, underappreciated, and sometimes just completely ignored. Even after all the times it proved itself useful, I feel like Ash never gave it the proper recognition. Hell, before it evolved into Pidgeot, Ash was ready to write Pidgeotto off as not good enough to fight Fearow. Nah, I'm glad Ash is releasing Pidgeot, because now we finally get what we've wanted all season. That's right, being released is justice for Pidgeotto. Well, Pidgeot, but you know what I mean. Ash says they'll be right back as soon as they get Professor Oak's Pokeball. And that right there is a blatant lie. They come back to Pallet Town, sure, but they never head slightly down the road to check how Pidgeot's doing, or if it's even still alive. Legend has it Pidgeot is still waiting in those trees for Ash to come back. See what I mean though? We don't even get a montage of Pidgeotto's time with Ash. Ash's Butterfree was with Ash for 19 episodes. And Butterfree got a montage of its time with the group, it got Tears After Cloudy Weather playing, a little bit of the Pokemon main theme, Ash crying, all the bells and whistles. Pidgeot, who's been with Ash for 79 episodes, that's 60 more than Butterfree, flies away with the wild Pidgey and Pidgeotto with no fanfare, no montage, no emotional music, nothing. Ash doesn't even shed a single tear, and the narrator doesn't even mention Pidgeot during the outro. When Butterfree left, the narrator gave this heartwarming spiel about how Ash helping Butterfree to grow helped Ash grow a little bit himself, but when Pidgeot leaves, nothing. Yeah, mate, Pidgeot is way better off being released. Good riddance, I say. So those are my WTF moments for Pokemon Season 2, Episode 1, Pallet Party Panic. Let me know your favourites and any that I missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head to twitch.tv/AceTrainerLiam for all of my live streams and use code ACE for money off G Fuel. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.